do is if you have ambition to be great, my job is to coach you to get all that greatness out of you.
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one. I was gonna come live yesterday because I had some stuff I wanted to talk about, but I was with the wife. I wanted some things to play out. I was pretty sure a defensive coordinator decision would be coming today, and here we are. And we're gonna talk about it. Josh Boyer has been retained, but there's a lot more to the story. If you are a Patreon, you got an update about maybe let me look. Let me give you an exact time frame. That update came maybe around even just an hour ago. That is a fresh update for the Patreons, and I'm going to talk about it here. Let me just get an exact timestamp for you guys. Yeah, it's about an hour ago. There are some very, very interesting things regarding this hire, and I get it, but part of me is not a fan of it, and I'm gonna explain that to you when we hop into it. If you are a Patreon, you already know what the deal is. So keep it out of the comment section right now. Let me drop that one on everyone's head. We're going to get into that because there's a lot. I know we had someone in the comment section saying there must be more to this story with Gerald Alexander. There most definitely is more to this story. And we're going to get into it. No members do not have. You have to be a Patreon. I just post them on Patreon posts. Members get like emojis and they get emojis and they get a next to their name they get a image that updates every couple months. So like a brand logo. So we'll talk about that. That's going to be coming down. We're going to talk about that pretty soon, to be honest with you. It's on my early docket. Guys, I'm going to play the 17-minute interview today from the homie Mike McDaniel on the Dan Batard show today. It's about 17 minutes. I'm going to play it. I think it's worth all of your time. We got a bunch of stuff to get into, man. We got a whole bunch of stuff to get into. So obviously I'm going to talk about Welker. I got to talk about Zach Thomas. We're going to cover a lot today. And you know, I've been getting a lot of good positive feedback this week on the daytime shows. So here I am delivering another one for you guys. All right, let's talk about yesterday. And you know me, I'm going to go into chronological order. I'm surprised no one's covered. I haven't seen anyone cover this on YouTube yet. And I'm shocked. Like people were talking about Wes Welker more than they were talking about what I'm about to talk about right now, which is absolutely shocking to me. I don't get it at all. But guys, smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. You already know the detail. PayPal down below. There it is for you right there if you'd like to donate. Hey, guys, my birthday's in 7 days. Get your birthday gifts ready for Reason. You can become a Patreon, patreon.com/Phinside the NFL. The descriptions, the link to that, and to become a channel member, and to the PayPal in the description below. All right, let's hop into this. Let's start off with again. No one's making a big deal of this, and I don't understand. Like, isn't everyone's job to inform Dolphin fans? I don't understand what's going on, why this isn't being talked about. Now, this got pushed down the thumbnail priority, but it's still a big topic of discussion. The Miami Dolphins are interviewing former New Orleans Saints receiver coach Curtis Johnson, a former Tulane head coach and Miami Hurricanes receivers coach, who has also worked for the Chicago Bears, according to NFL sources. Now, if you know, Hurricane fans will remember him, right? And you know, Hurricane fans will definitely remember him, right? And a couple other things that happened yesterday. So, okay, first of all, in terms of, let's talk about Curtis Johnson for a second here. You know, obviously, all of you Hurricane fans, like I said, you'll know him, but this guy was responsible for the development of names like Santana Moss, Reggie Wayne, Andre Johnson, Roscoe Parrish, Devin Hester, you know, during his time as a receivers coach from 96 to 2005 with the Miami Hurricanes. You know, he left the Hurricanes and he joined Sean Payton's staff. He spent 6 seasons with the States, with the Saints. He coached guys like Marcus Colston, DeVary Henderson, Robert Meacham, Lance Moore, Kenny Stills, and Michael Thomas. Before then, he got the head coaching job at Tulane, where he had a 15-34 record as a head coach. He then returned to the Saints and has been there since 2017. So with Peyton retiring and being replaced by coordinator Dennis Allen, Johnson seems to be exploring his options, and he is in line for the offensive coordinator job with the Miami Dolphins. So that now leaves Charles London as the first name we know. And now Curtis Johnson is the second name we know. It's a big deal, man. This guy, he's been, like John Embry, he's he's helped the development of a lot of people that are household names, right? So I actually do potentially like this hire if it's going to happen. Now, would I prefer an offensive coordinator, even if they're not calling plays with experience just because of how the DC situation is working out? Sure. But at the same time, you got to think to yourself, no offensive coordinator with a ton of experience is going to come here and not call plays. So when McDaniel let us know that he's calling plays, that kind of limited and that kind of narrowed down the field a little bit right now. So that's why a first-time guy makes more sense, because they'll be under the tutelage of him, right? So same thing of how Boyer was under Flores for a little bit there, right? So Curtis Johnson, it looks like he is the second candidate to be interviewed. So, I like it. I like it. So now we got the Falcons quarterback coach, and we got the Saints wide receiver coach and former Tulane head coach. So let's see how it rolls. You just got to understand that's how the market's going to play out. When he's telling us off the rip that he's going to be the one calling plays, it's going to limit, you're not going to get, like, for example, even though we don't want him, like a Chan Gailey's not going to come here. Right. So there you go. That's your update on the offensive coordinator search. Now let's get into the real goods here. And I got a lot to say about this. So Gerald Alexander was fired yesterday. Okay. There's a difference between being let go and being fired. Gerald Alexander was fired yesterday. And the Dolphins did fire defensive back coach Gerald Alexander today. Sources confirm, as Omar Kelly said, shocking move given how Alexander was viewed by players, league people, DB room success. Dolphins solidifying their defensive staff now, and they've decided Alexander wasn't going to be a part of that. Now, I got some interesting info passed my way regarding this. And let's get into this. This is where my Patreon update comes into play. So what I've confirmed that both Flores and Gerald Alexander were calling defensive plays for the second half of the 2021 season. But I'm also told because of the, there was a power struggle that started to take place between Brian Flores and Josh Boyer. And this resulted in Flores taking away play calling duties and running the defense in a collaborative effort with Gerald Alexander. I'm told special teams coordinator Danny Crossman, who coincidentally is staying on the staff as well, sided with Boyer, and the two started moving in a direction behind the scenes against Flores, even quote unquote urging his firing. Now, this is where it gets real murky. I was told that players on the defense, quote unquote, hate Josh Boyer. So, and this comes from a place where, if you guys remember, I was way ahead of the, players not liking Tua, leadership and work ethic issues that Barry Jackson alluded to after the season ended. I had that information on my Patreon in November. the information that players do not like Boyer is from, let's call it, the same vicinity as that information I'd been passed down in regards to players not liking Tua Tagovailoa and questioning Tua's work ethic and ability to be a leader comes from basically almost the same place. So this is where I go back to why I said where I'm at with the retention of Josh Boyer. But let's stick to George Alexander here for a sec. In regards to George Alexander being fired, clearly, he was Flores' boy. He chose sides, and they moved on from him. I don't agree with this. I would have made him the defensive coordinator before I would have given the reins to Josh Boyer, allowed the reins to stay in Josh Boyer's hands. This is the first move that worries me of the Mike McDaniel era. Because we'll get into it. You'll see that he's retaining a lot of the people from the previous staff. I know Godsey. Well, we're not talking about defense, but I know what was it? We lost Leonard, one of our coaches, Leonard. What's Ray Leonard, I believe his name is. So, let me just let me make sure. Yeah, Rob Leonard. So we lost Leonard. He left, right, and so did Godsey. But you're seeing this come together, and I don't like that there's already politics in play to the decision of who the defensive coordinator is. I'm not a fan of that. That doesn't sit overly well with me, if you want my honest opinion. So, when I hear something like that, when I'm told something like that, and I agree with Finfella. The decision to keep Boyer over Alexander sounds like it came from the front office, not Mike. And that's a problem. I'm not this politic crap. You know what I mean? I'm not down with that. And it seems like they're getting what, if you chose, like, if Alexander figured the defense out, why would you push him out? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I think Alexander is going to be a star coach in this league. You should have done what you should have done to repair that relationship, to mend those fences, and he should have stayed on staff. Gerald Alexander, especially if he was calling plays for the last half of the season with Brian Flores, you don't get rid of that guy. Sorry. Continuing on, obviously the big news that everyone was so excited about yesterday, he's coming home, and that would be that Wes Welker, he took a lateral move as the wide receiver coach. What's so impressive about some of this stuff, like with Embry and with Welker, is we're seeing guys from the 49ers staff being totally okay with taking lateral movements to continue working with Mike McDaniel. What does that say about Mike McDaniel? That tells you that's a pretty, that guys who are working with him and guys who collaborate with him, they want to keep following that journey. And they're not taking pay raises, bumps in pay. They're not taking any of that. They're taking literal lateral movements. And that's got to be a positive sign. That's got to be a positive sign. I don't think that's something you can hold against. I don't think that's something you can hold against them. And I think that's something to lean on, that when people get in the building with Mike McDaniel, when people work with Mike McDaniel, when they get around his energy, when they get around his mind, they want to keep working with him. Austin makes a good point. He says mending relationships in Miami don't belong in the same sentence. I agree with that. But I do like the Wes Welker hire. We saw players over there take, you know, developmental steps forward this year under him. Debo got better, Ayuk got better. So I like the hire, and I'm really interested to see what Wes Welker's going to do with Jalen Waddle and Wes Welker's vision, along with Mike McDaniel's, for how they fill out this wide receiver room. Really intrigues me. At least we know under Wes Welker, we're going to find a legitimate slot guy. I'm really interested in Lynn Bowden's development under Wes Welker. That's very intriguing. CT, you can't hang a monogamy on Alexander because Javon Holland this year, Brandon Jones this year. Come on, man. Xavier Howard has had 2 amazing years under Alexander. Byron Jones was really good this year under Alexander. Come on, man. Nick Needham under Gerald Alexander. Right? So, I can't get on that train. But I do like the Wes Welker hire. I'm going to be really interested to see how I'm going to be really, really interested to see, how this receiver room shapes up forward and what we look like. Because if you go by their offense last year, we're going to be running a hell of a lot of screens. And speed is a necessity in that room. So they're going to be flipping. They're going to be flipping people around because speed is like a must have in that. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. All right, guys. Let's keep it rolling. Obviously, the news of the day today is that guess who's back? Back again. And that's Josh Boyer. Josh Boyer is back in what Omar Kelly labels as a questionable move. A questionable move is what he calls it. So let's get into this. In what can be viewed as Mike McDaniel's first controversial decision as the Miami Dolphins' newly hired head coach, Josh Boyer will return as the team's defensive coordinator. Miami had interest in landing former Denver Broncos defensive coordinator Vic Fangio, a respective defensive mind to lead the defense, but a deal couldn't get done. We'll get into that why later on. As a result, Boyer, who's beginning his 17th season as an NFL assistant and 4th with the Dolphins, will coordinate Miami's defense for a 3rd straight season, according to league sources. In his first season as defensive play caller, Boyer directed the unit to a 6th place finish in the NFL. The Dolphins led the NFL in turnovers, 3rd down defense, and allowed 21.1 points per game. But the unit struggled in the first half of the 2021 season, and the issues got so bad that Boyer was stripped of his play calling duties and responsibilities in November, according to multiple team sources. This is where I'm telling you where Gerald Alexander and Flores took over. Brian Flores, who the Dolphins fired after the 3rd season, took over as Miami's defensive play caller and worked with recently fired secondary coach Gerald Alexander to coordinate Miami's coverage. With that approach, the Dolphins began to play better in the second half of the season, primarily because the unit got back to playing more zone coverage. No, I think we played more man. Moved Jerome to outside linebacker and started using its blitz packages better. The transition began with a 22-10 win over the Ravens and helped the team win 8 of its final 9 games. The changes created a rift in Miami's coaching staff, which players openly admit became an issue late in the season. Boyer's retention led to Alexander's firing on Thursday, and a couple more defensive assistants will likely be let go in the coming days. After Boyer was stripped of his play calling duties, the Dolphins closed the season by holding opponents to fewer than 300 passing yards in 10 consecutive games for the first time since 2017. At one point between weeks 15 to 17, the Dolphins held their opponents to 20 consecutive 3rd down stops. Last season, Miami finished 1 sack shy of a team record of 49 sacks, which was set in 1983. The 48 sacks were tied for the 5th most in the NFL in 2021, and the Dolphins had 14 different players record at least half a sack. Miami also led the NFL in passes defense, 88, and ranked 2nd in quarterback hits with 121. The Dolphins rank 15th in yards allowed, 337.5 per game, 18th in points allowed per game, 21.9, 28th in third down defense, which was 41.4 conversion rate, and 11th in red zone defense, allowing 52.6% of opponents' opportunities to result in touchdowns. That means the defense, which has carried the franchise for nearly 2 decades, has plenty of work to do, and it starts with rebuilding the linebacker unit. The direction they go moving forward depends on plenty of factors, starting with whether Miami will re-sign Emmanuel Ogbah, who led the team with 9 sacks and had a career-high 12 passes defense in 2021. It was the most by an NFL defensive lineman since 2016. Linebackers Landon Roberts and Duke Riley are also free agents, and the Dolphins must address cornerback Xavier Howard's contract, which the Pro Bowl cornerback got adjusted last season when he informed the franchise he wasn't going to play without a raise. The Dolphins added incentives that raised the salary from $12 million to $14 million, and Howard will likely seek another pay increase, a new deal, or a trade. So you see some key components of the defense being mentioned there with Ogbah and Howard, but I also wonder, you go look at the success of Jalen Phillips in the first half of the season when Boyer was the primary play caller, was nowhere near as good as it was in the second half of the season. You know what I mean? It's troubling. You wonder, will Holland and Brandon Jones' upward trajectory of development continue with Alexander gone? Will his trajectory continue upward with Boyer now being the main sheriff on the defensive side of the football? There's developmental. How will he retool the linebacker room? Will he re-sign Ogbah? I think he'll get X figured out. What'll happen to Noah Igbenogany? Will he cut bait and say that wasn't my guy? I never wanted him. It's going to be really interesting. There's going to be a lot of stuff and a lot of big changes potentially happening. It's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. Very, very interesting. All right. My thoughts on the situation are, I would have given the reins to Gerald Alexander. I would have. I'm sorry, I just would have. 2020, who called defensive plays in 2020? It was Josh Boyer. So I think this feels like politics were at play. This feels like Greer and Ross were involved on this. It feels like Alexander was a Flores guy, from what I'm told. Boyer and Danny Crossman, who have both been retained, were moving behind the scenes against Flores. That just seems like a Ross Greer handprints are on this. So we'll see how this one plays out. All right, now a bunch of announcements came down the pipeline today in regards continuing our staff being, pieced together. So first thing first, per source, Austin Clark, who did good work with the Dolphins defensive lineman, is expected to be retained by Mike McDaniel. Josh Boyer, who's being retained, and Clark worked well together. Decisions pending on some other assistants who have not been told their status. So you saw, our defensive line was pretty good last year. So they're bringing back Austin Clark. He'll be retained. He'll stay on Boyer's staff under Mike McDaniel. So that was one of the first dominoes that fell today. Another one that dropped today was this. Per source, Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel is retaining linebacker coach Anthony Campanelli and corner coach Charles Burks. I liked both of these keeps. I think Campanelli, I think with what he was given, with the personnel Flores give him, I think he polished some turds into gold. And Charles Burks, he's done really good work with the corners. He was, basically Gerald Alexander's right-hand man in terms of working with the cornerback room. So I like those retentions. I think those are decent. So There you go. Right now, Boyer, Austin Clark, Campanelli, and Charles Burks are returning, continuing on, because it does continue on. A big name is staying on the offensive staff, ladies and gentlemen. Per league source, new Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel is keeping at least Eric Studesville from the offensive staff. Studesville, who had been co-OC and running backs coach, will remain the running back coach. So he's been stripped of the offensive coordinator title. Status of multiple other offensive assistants to be determined. So Eric Studesville is remaining, and he is staying on as the running back coach. So, again, title by proxy. The running back room, we all know whose vision is going to be executed for the running back room. All right. And it sure as hell ain't going to be Studesville vision. Let's tell it what it really is here, okay? So, I know Studesville is highly regarded around the league. We're all still waiting for Coach Lemuel Jean-Pierre to get the axe. Waiting for that one to come down. But I do know Eric Studesville, like it or love it, is highly regarded around the league. And the one thing too you got to appreciate here is the continuity. I appreciate the continuity. You know what I mean? I really do appreciate the continuity. So, and there's continuity at different levels. And if Danny Crossman and Boyer were out to get Flores last year, makes sense why our special teams regressed a little bit too. And I mean, Studesville had been in the league for 21 years. He's helped develop Myles Gaskin. So, we'll see. And I know they both worked for the Denver Broncos, did McDaniel and Studesville. So he probably got a decent recommendation, right? When he did his research into Studesville and whether he's going to keep him. So George Godsey is gone, ladies and gentlemen. He is now the Baltimore Ravens tight end coach. Right? He's gone. Lemuel Jean-Pierre has not been informed of his status as of early Friday morning. So, you see all these names coming out, and it might make sense that he's out of here. So we'll see how Lemuel Jean-Pierre, how things work out for him. But, McDaniel keeping some continuity. I'm sure next year we'll see some more changes as he continues to mold, especially if Boyer and the defensive staff don't get it rolling. I could definitely see some changes coming down the pipeline. So, I respect the continuity, but I would have taken Alexander over Boyer every day of the week, twice on Sundays. Sorry. I think Boyer, I don't see Boyer. I mean, maybe Boyer becomes a head coach in the NFL. I see Gerald Alexander becoming a star head coach in the NFL one day. I don't know, man. That's the route I would have got. But I do like some of the continuity with some of the position coaches. Studesville, I get. It's another move where I'm kind of like, eh. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's going to be McDaniel behind the running game. It's not going to be him. So, and hey, speaking of the run game, if we're not drafting a guy, let's make a run at Lombardi Lenny. So, I know a lot of people wanted Vic Fangio to be a part of the staff, and the question has been, okay, well, what happened with Vic Fangio? What's the deal there? And the deal is Fangio might not even be coaching in 2022 in the NFL. And Benjamin Albright, who you guys know I've had on the show, friend of the show. I consider a friend of mine in the Twitter sphere. He's a great individual, always willing to talk to me. We always, share information we're hearing and stuff like that. He's a great guy. He was in San Francisco today chatting with John Lynch. This is yesterday. So Fangio was in San Francisco yesterday chatting with John Lynch. Benjamin Albright says he may take a year off with the Broncos, still paying him this year because as a head coach, he may take a consulting gig. He has all offers. So Fangio looking for a light workload. He's still getting paid by the Denver Broncos. And then he's just probably going to go get a consulting fee. He doesn't need to rush out there and become a head coach, apparently. And someone else pointed out to me today, and they said, listen, what if he comes to Miami and we have a bad year defensively? He's one of those guys where next year, if he's just consulting this year, he could be getting head coaching interviews next year, right? If he comes here and things don't go well, he could be jeopardizing those opportunities next year. So, I don't know. It just seems Fangio obviously clearly told the Dolphins it was not going to happen. So, I mean, I would have loved Fangio. I think, he would have got the most out of this defense. I mean, it is what it is at this point. The thing here is if there's not a lot of veteran leadership for McDaniel to lean on the defensive side of the football. And that's not his strength. And to me, I don't know. I truly, I don't know. I would have tried to avoid how this is working out right now. I would have, I know it's limited because, I mean, if you look at the guys who can come in and really handle this defense, we're talking about like Romeo Crennel and Wade Phillips, guys who are like 74. You know what I mean? Are you going to go pluck Gerard Mayo, the linebacker coach who was interviewing for head coaching jobs from the Patriots, former player? I don't know if you are going to do that. So, I don't know. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with missing out on Vic Fangio as long as the defense performs, because if the defense doesn't perform, this could shoot us in the foot here. And we can't afford the defense to fall off while our offense is being retooled into McDaniel's new vision. So we'll see, though. I mean, hey, at the same point, we are going to see what this man can do without Brian Flores over his shoulder breathing down his neck. We're about to find out what kind of coach Josh Boyer really is. It sucks we didn't get Fangio. I wish he still wasn't getting paid, because if he wasn't getting paid, he'd be more inclined to probably take a defensive coordinator position right now. And now we're getting the reason why the Giants pivoted so quickly back to Wink Martindale off Fangio when they wanted him. And, a problem here is, because the coaching search took so long. because the coaching search took so long, you weren't able to get into the mix for Wink Martindale. You waited too long. And that's an issue. So, I don't know. This is a result of getting to the party late. I don't know. And there is word out there that Lemuel Jean-Pierre is going to be replaced. So we'll see how that rolls. But hey, you get to the party late, and this is why, if we couldn't have got Fangio, why we couldn't pivot to Wink Martindale, and the Giants got him so easily. They were already way ahead, So, but you got to appreciate the continuity, and let's see what a year of Josh Boyer's defense looks like without Flores breathing under his neck. And just so you guys see it, it was confirmed by Akash Anavarthan, who covers the 49ers, that potentially bringing in Vic Fangio to consult with DeMeco Ryans this season and have a natural successor once Ryan leaves for a head coaching job. So DeMeco Ryans leaves next cycle and Vic Fangio is a consultant, they will just promote him to defensive coordinator next year if Fangio doesn't get a job and Ryans does. So that seems to be how they're rolling with it. Fangio is waiting in the wings, and obviously he has ties there. He went to the Super Bowl with the Harbaugh-led 49ers. So the familiarity of Vic Fangio and the 49ers, maybe that's why he's comfortable going there in a consulting position and being a defensive coordinator in the wings if Ryans leaves and Fangio himself can't get a job. So a little more further insight. It seems that they're setting up Vic Fangio to be DeMeco Ryans' successor, and it's a huge hire. That's a freaking huge hire. So you got to appreciate that hire. We've been plucking the hell out of them the past couple of days, and here they come through and they make a big hire themselves. So 49ers responding decently as they start to rebuild their staff, because they've got a lot of holes rolling on right now in San Francisco. So it's going to be interesting to see how this continues to play out. But here we go. No Vic Fangio. All right, guys, I want to play a portion, and then I'm going to give you guys about a half hour to come up here, and we'll talk about the staff and how everything's coming together. I want to get your guys' thoughts on everything. I'm going to play a portion here from the Dan Batard show, and they had Mike McDaniel on today, and I really thought this was a good interview. He talked about Tua, he talked about Waddle, he talked about a lot of different things. So I'm going to play this for you guys, and when I start playing, give me a thumbs up in the chat just to make sure you guys can hear it. I just want to make sure the audio is working correctly for you guys. All right, 500 of you in the room right now, smash that like button.
Lord.
Here is the new Dolphin coach, Mike McDaniel.
Give me a thumbs up.
Hey, Coach. How you settling in, man?
Good. Does Levitar have a different 345 than we do?
That's a good. You should ask him that question when he gets in here, okay? Please ask him that. Yes.
Maybe it's a slow clock.
He's coming right now, and I think you should start by asking him that question, Coach. It'd be a great way. There he is.
Just curious if we need to update the batteries in your watch.
Lebatard was late to the interview.
He wants to know if you have a different 345 that he does.
Oh, I'm sorry, Coach. Establishing the standards right away. My apologies for being late. The new rules in Miami, new sheriff in town. You have rules about being late. My apologies.
No, honestly, because I was in a panic running across the room because I thought I was late. technically I was like 30 seconds late anyway, too.
Okay, well, thank you. It's nice meeting you, and it's nice to have you in town. I've been enjoying the coverage over the last couple of days as people have gotten to know you. So thank you for making time for our audience. In the last couple of days, what would you describe as the most emotional moments? I know you had one in front of us at the press conference talking about your family, but the last couple of days, what was the most moving stuff about arriving at your dreams?
Actually, the most emotional I've been was talking to, within the facility, all the employees. I think that was on Tuesday. I was in the middle of talking about, what I foresee the team looking like and the direction we should go. And it was like stadium seating. And I could feel, that this Miami Dolphins organization has just a ton of departments that are well-oiled machines. And they're really good at their jobs. In the process of communicating to them, I'm starting to think about, they haven't won a playoff game in 20 years or whatever, but how invested they are into the whole team. So then I start talking about moving forward. And then once I started talking about like what it would be to win a playoff game and just the people and their investment and what that would feel like, that was a pretty emotional moment too. I thought I held it together. I didn't know. I think my poker face is a little bit better than it is, but I got a little more emotional in that one too.
Why would that be moving to you, though, given that they're people that you don't really know yet?
Because it's more about the appreciation of how just being in multiple NFL buildings, knowing how that's a rarity, and then how much the Dolphins must mean to them because they're executing their jobs, and I could feel their energy in the room. I don't know. It's something that's a sense. I don't know. I just put myself there, and I could feel how moving that would be to bring the franchise that and worth chasing.
They're dying for some hope. They're dying for a savior. 2 decades is a long time to not win anything meaningful.
Yep.
See, you're getting on the track there. That's exactly what I'm processing. All this stuff moves so fast, so you're just like, okay, oh, I got the job. Okay, you fly tomorrow. I better communicate to some players. Oh, I better talk to these coaches because these coaches have been sitting in offices for 3.5 weeks with no head coach and don't know, and then watching other people get jobs and all that. So there's all that stuff. You don't really take a time to process what's going on. And then all of a sudden people right in your face and you're like, oh shit, this could be really cool.
Yes,
And
my
I'm
coach
in charge,
swears,
too,
baby.
right? I got to think
Let's
that there
go.
are parts of it, I don't want to say overwhelming, but where you're all of a sudden the adult in the room when you've never had to be the leader, right? You've been the leader in rooms, but not everyone in the organization is moving and looking at me to be new face, new voice, new vision.
That's something that it's the natural thing to think. The one thing that I've been very aware through my whole process, I have had a lot of peers, guys that I've worked alongside that have gotten head coaching jobs. So there's like 4 or 5 guys that I've experienced, like, okay, you're a first-time head coach, particularly with Kyle Shanahan working right alongside him. So just knowing that and knowing that I have aspirations to do so, I would have been a fool not to put myself in his shoes through every decision. And the great thing about being a guy's, whatever you want to call it, quote, right-hand man, or, my office was the closest to his, is that he involved me in a lot of his decisions. So I have a picture, I think a pretty good one, of how you're supposed to go through it. And it's been more like, all right, this needs to get done. You have to execute it this way.
Shout out to
Unless it's
808
thinking,
Niners gang.
I haven't really thought about it in that regard. It's like I have a job to do that people are
Appreciate
depending on me to
808.
do. So we need to get this done. And it's been a little more natural than one would expect, I say.
Coach, what does Tua need to work on?
He needs to work on playing the position of quarterback. We need to teach him our system. He needs to work on fundamentals. You get with him, and without any shortcut, you see things he's comfortable with within your offense.
Let's go.
And then you need to have other offense around it.
Look
The original point of focusing on the run game within our system.
Gotta have other offense
the first
around
year
him.
that I had that I was in coaching, I was with Jake Plummer and the Broncos, and we went to the AFC Championship game.
Went to an AFC
One
Championship
could
game
say
with Jake
that
Plummer.
Jake Plummer needs to work at playing in the pocket on third down more. Or you can say, we need to run the ball. We need to feature what he's good at. And yes, he needs to work at it all. But more of the focus was, let's create the offense. Let's establish the system. He should know how to call the plays where everyone's at.
Let's go.
Let's have an offense that he operates within. So it's hard for me to say this one thing.
Let's go.
I want him to work. I want him to be invested, and I want to see what happens with that.
It's also a trap question. All of a sudden, coach says Tua needs to work on X, Y, and
Don't
Z.
accuse me of that.
So
did I get trapped?
No, you did not get trapped.
No, you did a great job.
No, that was.
He's saying I tried to trap you.
He did try to trap.
And
Maybe
I did.
he has put himself through this before.
Yes, and you absolutely sidestepped him in a way that was very expert. What does he have to work on? He has to work on the position of quarterback. No one can take that and turn it into a headline.
Well played.
Dan, you were worth the wait.
I want to introduce you, though, to Dolphin fans. Like, how do you think differently beyond the coach speak? Everybody comes in and wins the press conference, which we're going to be aggressive. We're going to have energy. What are the things about you where you think differently than others do? I
think I reasonably think about what you just said. At some point, you got to pay the piper. So, like, I don't even really care about the it's nice that my wife isn't crying. But like, do I read or give a shit about stuff that doesn't matter in regard of, okay, they really like you now.
Let's go.
I've been in the league long enough to know that's cool for now, but like what matters. And I know that I'm gonna have to be accountable for whatever happens. So
let's go.
What? They're gonna like me when we win, and they're gonna dislike me when they lose.
Let's go.
Very aware of that. So that's why I don't really spend time basking in all the glory.
I love
more
my
specifically,
coach, baby.
though, I love the way Brandon Staley coaches, super aggressive, math-oriented, data-oriented, 4th and short. I'm going to go for it more often than most. What's your philosophy going to be there?
I wouldn't say opposite of Staley. I'd say opposite of kind of what you said. I'm more of a absolutist in that I won't be absolute. I think I'm very hesitant to not take in every piece of information and adjust. Like, okay, so it's 4th and 1. Should I go for it? Where's the ball? What's the defense we're playing against? What's our situational matchup? Are they going to play bear defense? Can we block them?
Where you at, ball game? He dropped the
What's
bear.
The score is a 2-score lead.
He dropped the bear, ball game. 4-6,
for myself,
baby. Let's go.
I think I will be an idealist with staying true to like what makes sense to me at the time. A philosophy of me is use the most reason and live with the results. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but it's as true to me as it really is.
Well, how much are you doing in the way of analytics? I guess I should ask you. How forward-thinking, progressive are you on the math of the sport and exploiting inefficiencies?
Oh, I'm fully into analytics in terms of getting the information, and I don't want anything less than information on game day. And in the off season, we're working on it. I want all the information. What I'm saying is I might not rely with what analytics says to do.
I'm ready to play for Mike McDaniel. Let's go.
Okay, this gives me a flat line of how difficult this situation is. But I'm not going to sit there and be like, well, it was 73%.
Can you explain to me how much you know about what you're inheriting as a historically bad, according to the analytics, offensive line? Offensive line.
I do know. I have watched the tape. My eyes have been open. I do know the statistics. I read those as well. I see some pieces that are, in my vantage point, from a coach's perspective, and having evaluated everybody that's on their offensive line, I think there are some pieces to work with. I think that is a point of emphasis.
Austin
Jackson, in our coaching selection, I think when it's all said and done, I'm making sure that we're going to have guys that can teach what we need to teach. I think historically, if you go back and look from year to year, what was the Atlanta Falcons O-line productivity in 2014? Historically, our system does help people because we commit to stuff, and all of those things factor. Very aware of that, but to me, that's where we have to flourish. So that is obviously a point of emphasis because we haven't, but the line of scrimmage is paramount importance the pillar of our success in San Francisco the last 5 years.
Help me understand it, Coach. You inherit a historically bad offensive line. The way that you do things, your principles and your scheme, you think you can take those players and make it go from historically bad to what?
Literally, that's what we do as the coach. We add players that are of value, and we emphasize stuff. You know, like historically matters nothing to me, because like unless we can take points from those years and apply them to this year,
Let's go, baby.
Like, what are we talking? Like, this is a different team.
Let's
You know,
go,
like,
baby.
So that's, and honestly, I'm not being a smart ass. That it's the way I think about it is like, I get that. But I'm running a system that I've ran with 6 different teams for 15 years in one system, which no one really talks about, but that's unprecedented. Why? Because Kyle Shanahan kept getting jobs at different places. What does that mean? You learn how to play with different types of players, and then you adjust, which is why we're not like, I'm not creative for creative's sake. I'm just trying to put players in success. We've had a lot of different ways to do it because we've had to adapt to a lot of different players. We didn't know how to do zone read until we got a zone read quarterback. And so are we zone read guys that can only do that? No one had done it in pistol. We just did it in pistol because it made sense. So stuff like that, you know, being in the same system for that long, the system completely evolves and doesn't even look the same, but you learn how to figure stuff out once you get all your assets.
Coach, I'm wondering, do you have a relationship or have you spoken to Brian Flores? And I'm also wondering, what do you make of his situation right now?
You know, I'm just trying to be the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. I had a relationship with him in the past. I haven't talked to him as of late. If I was worried about all of that stuff, everything's an opportunity cost. That'd be a trash decision by the head coach, because he should probably be thinking about head coach things that actually matter to the team.
Not worried, though, about the ownership. I don't know what the due process is. When you get your first head coaching job, these things are hard to get. So I don't know what you have to do biographically to find out, hey, who am I working for here?
To be honest, like, it's a great question, because I would love to answer it. The fact that if you talk to coaches around the league or you have a relationship with Chris Greer, it's absolutely the best GM you could work with all time, because you know exactly where he stands, and his vision for himself is to help coaches get players for the scheme. As far as ownership, I'm glad you said that too, because it's the exact opposite. One thing I do have a relative awareness of and have experience is I've been in 6 different, now 7 organizations. I went into this whole deal thinking, you know, hey, I hope I do a good job. It's the first interview cycle. Usually it doesn't work out. I just want to represent myself well, and then hopefully the next cycle I get it. Once I got all the information, I got to the facility, I met the man. I mean, I've been in enough organizations to know if you go across the league and tally people, there's not many owners that are doing anything that it takes to win football games and spend money. It doesn't matter what the cost. And so when an owner gives you complete versatility and just commits to, hey, do you want a hyperbaric chamber with a Peloton and you want to spend $350K on it? Sometimes that might take a while to go through budget approval and all that shit. Here, there's stories of stuff just showing up the next day. So I think that's important. I know that's important to a lot of coaches in this process. It was important to me. You know, this is a business, so it's pretty impressive when a guy will put winning or the intent of winning over business. And, you know, it's coaches and players' job to win football games. Hasn't happened in a second. I was brought here to do that. I'll be held accountable either way.
What do you regard, if you had to guess, what do you regard as the thing that you have that brings the most value to the Dolphins, if you had to choose one? Because I've said before, well, a guy who can make a bad offensive line good, or a guy who can make a quarterback who, if anybody can do that with Josh Allen, I'm not sure that that's a skill that can transfer from place to place, but I would hire that and not need a whole lot else from my coach than the ability to turn Josh Allen, inaccurate passer in college, to MVP candidate.
I don't know. There's like, do you want to list off all my qualities?
What you regard,
Just so I can hear them?
yes. Well,
I'm just kidding.
well, you are considered an innovator, though, and I imagine one of the more appealing parts of this job is that you have a young quarterback that you can mold. So if you believe in your system and you believe you can make Gesicki what you made Kittle, somebody running down the seam with an accurate quarterback and make this offense that's been constipated for several years good, that would be enough for me to want to hire you if that's an ability you're bringing from San Francisco.
I think that one of the greatest strengths that I've been afforded in my career is adaptability. I think if you go through every player that we've ever had in our system, I think it's like
Love it. Let's go.
every big star player or just every player traditionally has their career year with us.
Shout out to Fake Spike.
And I think that's not correlation. I think it's causation, because we've had so many different variables and different skill levels at so many different positions that I feel like I'm very adept at getting the best players the ball in unique ways and then adjusting to their skill set. I think that empowers the quarterback. I think run games empower the quarterback. I think it all relates to each other. So adapting to talent and versatility to do whatever our skill sets necessitate, I think it would probably be my best. Oh,
We'll get you out on this note, and thank you for the time you've given us. Outside of Tua Tagovailoa,
you've been great.
Thank you. Outside of Tua Tagovailoa, give me a name, please, just to excite the Dolphin fan base, where you are looking at the roster and you're like, "Oh, I can get something special out of that guy." Okay.
This man's saying Waddle. He's yelling Waddle for y'all.
All right. So you're promising us. You could promise it. Waddle, if he's healthy, you're going to see a little Deebo Samuel. You're going to see someone who's used, super versatile.
No, I just talked with him on Monday, and I think he understands his leadership role on this team. He's a phenomenal talent. And guess what? The best and easiest way to get yards is give it to a really talented player. The 49ers, the last 4 or 5 years, have led the league in yak. The reason is because we're addicted to getting our skill position players that are good with running the ball. And so, yes, I would start him in fantasy. Beyond that, I think you should see some jumps in the Miami Dolphins offense next year. What those look like will be determined this offseason, and the way the players work and attack things moving forward.
Welcome to Miami, Coach. Happy that you could spend this time with us. Thank you for giving us so much of it.
All right.
Man, every time I hear this guy, I love him more. Like, you hear what he says about the offensive line, and you get, this man's going to fix the offensive line. This man's going to fix the running game. He's not blaming Tua. He's saying, let's put some offense around Tua. He knows what the deal is. This man's saying, start Waddle if you got him in fantasy. Let's go. This is my head coach right here. Let's do this. Man, and finally, guys, the one thing I did want to share before we got out of here, before I open it up to you guys, I want to open up to you guys for about a half hour. Guys, Zach Thomas got absolutely snubbed. Oh, I can't believe it. Let's get into this. I want to talk about this real quick before I open it up to you guys, because I know it's going to be a talking point too. We'll obviously talk about McDaniel and his staff as well, but I want to cover this real quick. So Zach Thomas, he got snubbed yesterday, and when Zach Thomas got snubbed, he released a statement. It was an honor to once again be among the finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I want to congratulate this year's class. They were all great players and each deserving of their gold jacket. I also want to thank the Miami Dolphin fans who continue to be so supportive. You guys are the best. I mean, it is an absolute joke that Sam Mills got into the Hall of Fame before Zach Thomas. What an absolute travesty. It's embarrassing. And I mean, I don't even know how the Pro Football Hall of Fame is taking themselves seriously right now. And with how they've treated Richmond Webb and Zach Thomas, the snubs are for real in Canton when you're a Dolphin. And I think it's absolutely embarrassing that Sam Mills got in before Zach Thomas. And I think it's embarrassing that Richmond Webb hasn't even sniffed it. So this needs to change. And I think we're going to go hard this year picketing for Richmond Webb. So this needs to change because this is ridiculous. Shout out to Zach Thomas for taking it with class, taking it on the chin with class. One of the, obviously the best linebackers in Dolphins history. All right, guys, I'm going to drop the link. I'll give you guys, we'll come up here. We'll talk about how the coaching staff is panning out, and we will also discuss your thoughts on Mike McDaniel. You want to talk about the Zach Thomas snub? Knock yourself out. I just dropped the link. So, man, you every time you hear Mike McDaniel talk, it's just more and more refreshing each time. It's just honestly so nice and so enjoyable to watch Mike McDaniel, listen to Mike McDaniel talk. It's just breath of fresh air is the only word I know how to say, and I keep saying it over and over because the only statement I should say I know how to say, and refreshing is the only word that I keep using over and over, but it really is, man. It really is refreshing to watch and listen to him. Rhino, what's going on?
Hey, man. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff.
John
About Zach and
yeah, I can't. The Zach stuff is ridiculous.
I'm going to shock everyone. Omar made a great point Wednesday. We don't have enough clout in Miami as far as reporters. We need another reporter to be on the board to push it. And Armando, get off your effing ass, bro, and start pushing these guys.
Representative?
Apparently, that's my understanding. He needs to get off his butt and do a little bit more
That's
work.
why I thought Cam Wolf would help us on a national level when he went to the NFL Network.
Right.
Because what you need to do is the problem is I had this conversation with someone today. The problem is they don't respect Joe Schad or any of these guys. And basically what you need to do is you have to have those relationships formed so you can keep staying in their ear all year long and reminding them, no, this guy needs to be voted in, this guy needs to be voted in, this guy needs to be voted in.
How many times has he been a finalist?
3,
Zach
right?
Thomas.
Is that 3 times now, I think?
How do you feel that many times?
His second year, yeah.
How do you feel that many times at getting him in the Hall of Fame?
They
Hey,
don't
there's
respect
people that
them,
failed
bro.
6
Barry
times.
Bonds.
They don't
There's
respect
people
them.
that failed 6 times.
Could be worse, could be Barry Bonds.
Yep. it will help if he can get somebody to vouch for him like Jason Taylor did with Tom Brady vouch for him.
Dude, yeah, Don Shula went up there and vouched for him.
Yeah.
I literally have that clip in the opening of the finish line.
Yeah. But, but that was his old coach. They would seem that's biased. But
well, Jason Taylor would be biased too. He played with him.
Yeah, I'm talking about Tom Brady vouched for Jason Taylor. He had an opponent vouching for him.
Oh, Jason Taylor was getting in anyways because he's got the stats.
Yeah, I know that part, but I'm just saying it didn't hurt that Tom Brady was saying that.
That's the reason why an example of Richmond Webb not getting in right now is because they don't have stats to back it. He doesn't have a Super Bowl. We didn't have a lot of 1,000-yard rushers behind him. We just had a passing game. And the same thing's going on with Zach Thomas. His stats don't really make your eyes off.
They better than Sam Mills.
And the reason why Urlacher got in there, they are for sure. But you know what I think it was? Posthumously. That's why I think he got in, bro. Because the whole they always induct someone when they're not around anymore, and Sam Mills isn't alive.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully Zach Thomas getting in next year, but these classes are just getting more difficult.
Right.
Yeah, they're getting more stacked against them.
But this class
Stu
was
says,
really
It don't matter. Even if
Richie
you're not
Stu
a Hall
says
of Famer. You're a Hall of
the
Famer.
center from the Jets did vouch for Zach.
Kevin
Well,
Mawai.
not even just that. You've seen Peyton Manning and Tom Brady have actually publicly talked about when they had to play against Zach Thomas. Especially Peyton Manning. I think Peyton Manning called him one of the best defensive players he ever had to play against.
He was sideline.
Yeah, but they just need to nationally constantly beat
They don't
that
care
drum,
about that. It's because we're the Dolphins. It's because of what Ryan.
Not enough playoff appearances.
It's what Rhino said earlier. Rhino nailed it on the head. It's
Politics, bro. It's always
yeah,
politics.
We're not locked into the media like that.
For the Dolphins, bro. That's what
And
it
Zach
is.
Thomas, when he
That
played,
too.
he was, even though he was friendly to the media, he wasn't like, rah media. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Like Baltimore's locked into the media. New England's locked. We're just not. We really started pushing the media out during the Parcells era. That's when we really started pushing back on the media and blocking them out. And then obviously Flores hasn't helped over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And so
Mike
hopefully
McDaniel could change
Mike
it though.
McDaniel can change that. Exactly.
Mhm.
That's the problem. We're not
But we gotta get
stroking. We're not stroking the right people, bro.
We gotta get these beat
That's the
reporters the
issue.
fuck out of here, though, man. They ass.
Hello.
Hey, reason to feel
Yo,
about
who's got all
us
that noise going on
keeping
right now?
Studsville.
That's me. I closed the garage door. Taking
Yo,
up the
mute yourself, son. We're gonna do that. Go ahead, Trey. Go. What's up?
So how do y'all feel about us keeping Studsville?
I mean, I know he's highly regarded around the NFL, so I guess that's cool. But like, he got demoted, so obviously he was cool with getting demoted. So
I don't mind the move, because Mike McDaniel is the mastermind behind this soon-to-be awesome run game. So,
yeah,
he's just a consultant pretty much.
Yeah,
So
he's a
it's not that big of a
placeholder.
deal. Yeah, so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
Well, it's like what Ross does really well. He pays the money. He's quiet. He fills the checks. But this is where Ross is bad. Greer is telling you in the press conference yesterday that he wanted to move faster. He didn't want to move faster to get McDaniel. He wanted to move faster to get a staff. So, like Reason was saying, he's now Ross has basically put us behind the 8 ball again. That's where Ross is horrible, absolutely horrible. And I don't know. Someone needs to get in his freaking air, bro.
dude, I just would have got him in after that first round if you're that impressed with him. Get him in as soon as you can and fucking make the hire, bro.
Done.
Like, don't finish your round of interviews. Just make the hire.
Like you ask every person that's interviewing for the head coaching job, do you like Fangio? All of them say yes. Hire Fangio first. So
the 49ers did win a couple playoff games, so you couldn't hire him right then and there. Yeah, it had to be a while.
But you know how that works. Works.
Yeah, because even the Vikings can't get their head coach yet, because they got to wait. But
yeah, but look we didn't wait. We didn't hire him the day after they got knocked out.
Right.
We hired him 5 days after they got knocked out.
Exactly. Yeah, but we also have Kellen Moore for a second interview, though.
I'm not done. And 3 or 4 days after they got knocked out is when Wink Martindale got hired.
Mm-hmm.
And like I just said, what do you owe Kellen Moore? You got your guy, you make the hire on the Monday, and you screw the second interview.
We got to do our due diligence because we already got a lawsuit. We got to do our due diligence with this.
Yeah, but that's over a Rooney rule. No one's going to care about a Caucasian guy from the Dallas Cowboys not getting a second interview.
I don't know. Kellen Moore could have joined that lawsuit. I don't know. We'll see.
No,
could you imagine?
He's not black, so I don't think he's joining the lawsuit.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I just think like what you guys
that
said,
would be ironic.
You was impressed with this guy the first interview, so impressed. You was glowing about the guy, and even Greer said it. What Rhino said, he said, "Let's be real here, he was the guy all along." I was like, so Greer is basically saying, "Yeah, we could have been hired this guy."
Yep.
Ross insisted on the second interview.
I think they were waiting for Harbaugh, see if he really was coming.
That's exactly what was happening.
I agree with that, but I'm just saying once the Flores stuff happened, you should have said, "Fuck it, hire the guy."
Yeah, but even if Harbaugh doesn't come, if Harbaugh does come, he's going to take Fangio. So, that part of it wasn't. The whole thing just it frustrates me with Ross, man. It's just like guys like.
But didn't it say like Fangio was trying to didn't want to coach again or something like that?
Well, he wants a consulting job, but he would have followed Harbaugh wherever Harbaugh went.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's Harbaugh's defensive coordinator.
Okay.
Peanut butter and jelly, the two of them.
So, and notice how you're not hearing anything about Fangio taking a job till after Harbaugh decided to go back to Michigan.
Yep.
It was all crickets on the Fangio front, right?
Yep.
So
what about our head coach? Reason he's talking shit and
Bro, this guy's
Throwing
swearing
jabs.
out here. I love it, bro.
It's awesome.
He's talking about, hey, look, hey, what had me laughing yesterday is when they mentioned Ross and he mentioned his pockets. I said, oh, man, that's bad timing, bro. Bad timing, bro. Bad timing.
Hey,
Hey,
what made
wait.
it even worse is when he said Ross will do whatever it takes to win. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
God.
yeah, that's
Fuck.
what when they asked him that about the. Oh man, I laughed my face off when he said that.
Yeah,
One
bro,
thing
when
you
he
can't
said-
deny is Russell do anything it takes to win. It's like, yeah, bro,
Yeah,
that's
we
why they
know
asked
that,
you about the
brother.
bribe, bro. That's why they asked you about the bribe, bro.
Exactly.
I also found it funny.
I don't
that-
think he meant it like that, but it definitely.
Yeah.
It
Well,
definitely
that's
came
what I'm
off
saying.
like that, bro.
Right, but it,
Because I
given
watched
the
it
circumstance.
I watched it the second time, and I'm like, okay, I understand what he's saying now. He's
Yeah,
saying like
he
Ross
inverted
spending
it.
all this money, buying all these buildings, spending whatever. That's what he's saying. But like,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
just sounded really bad.
It's still funny.
The most
It was
underrated
just
part of
bad
that
timing, man.
of that interview is when they leave him on the podium by himself with the helmet.
Yeah,
Everyone
that
like
was
dips, and he's
hilarious.
like,
Yo,
I was like,
this?
why would you? Why didn't nobody take the freaking helmet? They just walked away.
They gotta get better at that stuff, man.
And here we go,
McDaniel-
the most excited person who heard what did you listened to the Dan Batard obviously interview today, right?
Yeah, I heard it.
Obviously you probably, I'm surprised you don't have a hole in your car's roof once you heard them talk about the offensive line in Tua. Because I would imagine you went right through it when you heard that one.
No, I was happy that he mentioned the offensive line because it's like I want him gone. Like I don't want him on the staff. I really don't. I don't. I got PTSD from that damn offensive line, and just, whatever you got to do to make it better, get rid of that coach. If you get rid of the coach, then I'm okay with whatever hire you do after that. Like I just won't. I probably won't be. I won't be 100% satisfied if he's still on the roster. I'm just gonna keep it 100 with y'all. I do not want him on the damn roster. I trust Mike, but I don't want him on the roster. I don't want him on the coach staff. I don't.
Did you hear what McDaniel said on Joe Rose today when he said players have scars and need people to believe in them? That's the only business I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Man.
like, oh, he's taking shots at Flores. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
and how he handled
Damn,
Tua.
man.
So Mike McDaniels is going to come in and be a nurturer and a healer, huh?
My thing
Seems like
is
it.
that it's
Dr.
like,
Mike
you know,
McDaniel.
Definitely.
He's gonna heal him.
I really think that's why the video got as much attention as it did because everybody that's been following Tua and Brian Flores, even casual fans know Brian Flores wasn't trying to do shit for Tua. So it's like
Trying to sabotage him.
yeah, so it's like when you got
What do
a
you mean?
coach,
We did everything for Tua.
he wasn't trying to do shit for Tua.
No.
So it's like, and I feel that's probably why I wanted Mike McDaniel because it's like he has a history of. I just think it was just very simple. Like all you had to do was just scheme around what your players do best.
Yeah.
You know, reason?
Any head coach or assistant coach.
That's like
coach
building an
game,
offense 101. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
You remember what Tua said? Like Red Horse Adventure says, I don't not feel unwanted. The double negative.
yeah.
Tua's
Yeah.
so smart, bro.
Bro, I'm telling you, Austin Jackson's gonna stick around.
Yeah, he
They might
turned
be
around
able to
in the second half of the season. He's been playing
As
pretty
long
good.
as Jesse
Wow, he
Davis
was
is
shit at
gone.
left guard, bro. He was terrible.
As
Jesse
long as-
Davis-
The whole thing is
Run-
his athletic
run offense it was.
his athletic profile fits an outside zone. That's why.
You think they
Jesse
move him
I
back?
feel like
to
if he
tackle?
gets the right coach,
He's
then he could be
athletic.
pretty solid.
Well, he needs the right coach, but he also needs to hit the gym and do work himself and get his functional strength and his anchor up.
Mhm.
And only
What
he
about
can
Solomon?
do that.
What about Solomon Kinley? What
I
you
think
we're
he's
gonna
going
do
to
with
be
him?
out, man. He's a power gap guy. He's not athletic enough. One of his weakest points in his game is pulling and moving, and I think that's going to be an issue.
I think he could be a
Eichenberg's
good.
arms are short, right? But how is
If he can
Who,
improve,
Eichenberg?
I think with the right coaching, he'll be
Eichenberg
fine.
doesn't have good feet, and
So
he
probably
doesn't
not
have,
enough.
and he doesn't have arm length.
So hopefully a lot of trading will be going on. Get these guys out here
Yeah.
and get something.
that's why I want Lim. That's why I want
Sorry,
Lim gone because I just don't see him. I just don't see him improving improving it. It's gonna be the same shit, and we ain't got time for that, man.
Yeah, Lem's not
We ain't
going to
got
be
time for
back.
that.
Didn't Cameron Wolf report? Someone said Cameron Wolf reported. I think Showtime said Cameron Wolf reported today that that
Showtime.
Lem's not going to be back.
Oh, God.
So I don't know.
No, I hope that's the
I ain't
case.
gonna tell me what they
Lem's
gonna do with
coming
this
back.
line.
There's no way Lem's
that
coming
was
back.
a shit show.
That's a Flores guy. There's no way he's coming back. They're clearly cutting those guys out. Like Alexander was the first example.
Yeah, you can't have him in there with the lawsuit going on.
I had a
That's the way I
feeling
feel
they were
about
gonna-
that.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Sorry,
J Boy, could Liam play center? No, he doesn't have the anchor, bro. He's like 6'6", 302 pounds. You know,
Y'all just gotta give up on
you're
him.
gonna get
It's over
moved
with.
around so easily.
Dieter's
about to
going
get
to, I guess.
packed up.
I think Dieter kicked back to guard, bro.
Okay.
That would be the smart move.
So you think that we're going after a center and a tackle?
Yeah.
And then you think they're gonna move Austin Jackson back to tackle?
I don't know how that's gonna work out.
I prefer Austin Jackson at guard, to be honest. Left guard.
Because
Much better at guard, yeah.
he's not much better at guard. He's bad at both. Let's stop painting a false narrative here. Austin Jackson is not a good player. Okay, I've broken down the film. So let's not put that out there because the film does not say that he's much better at guard. He was consistently put on his ass when he was on the interior. He doesn't have the anchor and the functional strength at his size right now.
Yeah, he's not good at guard, but he's
when
got
you're in the
something to work with.
interior. When you're in the interior, yeah, as a tackle, because you can have him. His strong point isn't even the run game. His strong point is actually in screens. That's where he's best utilized because he can get to the second level so quickly and he can move so quickly because he's fleet of foot for a man his size. So that's why he will make sense in a Mike McDaniel offense because of the amount of screens they do. Now, when you look in the interior, you got guys moving in unison to move bodies. Austin Jackson is not a body mover.
I agree.
How you
So
feel on
that's his
Neto?
issue. And
That,
what
I'm just waiting to.
Don DeJula said is 110% correct. It doesn't matter whether he's a guard. It doesn't matter whether he's a tackle. He has absolutely zero awareness in pass pro.
How you feel on Neto?
How do I feel about who? Sorry.
You remember that Brazilian player and Robert Jones? How you feel about those
no,
guys?
he's gonna be
You think
nothing,
that's
bro.
good?
The one that interests me is Robert Jones.
Yeah.
Show me what Robert Jones has. Dervel Neto Queras or whatever the hell he is. That guy ain't gonna be nothing, bro.
Yeah. Same.
Come on.
I'm surprised you remember that name.
Like that's Flores' pet project. McDaniel gonna walk in and say, "Get out of here, bro."
Yeah, I was about to say he's been on our roster for like 3 years.
Yeah, they've been trying to make that guy. They've been trying to make a square
I want to
peg
see.
fit into a round hole.
Yeah, I want to see Robert Jones.
Yeah,
I
but
wanna
he's
see
gonna
Robert
put his
Jones.
imprint. He's gonna put his
'Cause I'm
fingerprint
telling
on.
you, I was like, it pisses me off so much because it's like, I ain't no telling how much better he would have got if he got playing this series. If he was just bench Jesse Davis ass, I don't think I'm gonna be over that for a minute. I will next season, but as of right now, that just pisses me off.
Oh, and then I got a donation after that too. How about Falele as a prospect, the right tackle from Minnesota? I don't know, man. His Senior Bowl worried me. That guy got worked over by a defensive end 100 pounds lighter than him, and it worried me. Oos Juice 31 says $4.99. Do you think we're drafting O-line in the first round? No.
Hell no.
That'd be a disaster if they do
We
that.
don't. We're not in a position to.
I think gonna be running back.
Yeah, they're gonna Austin Jackson will make the cut, Dieter will make the cut, Hunt will make the cut, and then I could see them. You know, he even said on the Dan Le Batard about you got to add veterans in there. So
Get Taron
you're
Armstead.
gonna add at least 2 veterans in there. So
Please don't keep this.
that's what what? I don't know what Kevin Williams is talking about. But yeah, so I think you're going to see a different looking offensive line come next year for sure. You're going to see some veteran infusion.
Just because maybe you like Martindale, maybe McDaniels didn't, is what he's saying, I think.
The only name that came out was Fangio, right? And
yeah,
McDaniel was hired after after Martindale already got a job.
Yep.
Martindale already got the job as the defensive coordinator when McDaniel finally got hired.
Yep.
So Jeremiah, Kelly, if you want me to put money on it,
that's probably why
Lakeland Tomlinson will probably be a Miami Dolphin. That's why I don't know where Austin Jackson's going to fit.
Wow.
And I don't even know where Dieter's going to fit. I do think Lakeland Tomlinson, a center and a tackle, are a realistic possibility.
How much
and
money?
Then Hunt at right guard, and then they battle it out with the other tackle position with either someone they sign or a draft pick or people they got in the building.
How much money he will command or reason?
Who?
Lakeland.
He had a pretty good season this year, but he wasn't that good up until there. I couldn't see him being more between like 6 to 8 million a year.
He made this year he made 4.
And this
made
year he went to the
4.5.
This year went to the Pro Bowl.
Okay. Probably why.
So
probably why Greer wanted to rush to hire so you could get some assistant coaches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would. That's exactly what you could have filled out your staff earlier. All these guys were still on. The market, right?
Yep.
So. And I see people talking about it in the chat. Yes,
that's probably why he wanted to rush it. I completely understand.
Tyler Linderbaum is a perfect scheme fit if he's there at 29 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For what we want to do. So, and he's arguably, I think Neil Driscoll put it best. He's the best player at his position with the widest gap between him and the second best player at his position. Like, if you guys have noticed the center classes over the last 2 years, after you get after the first 3 or 4 guys, they're kind of freaking weak.
Yeah, it drops off.
This is even a weaker class.
The drop off was huge.
Yeah, and this class is even weaker.
You think
I don't know.
People are talking about his weight.
No, because dude, he's like 290 something, right? That's perfect for a zone, bro. I don't need a 300-pound guy in the center because he's going to be in the screen game a lot and doing kind of stuff there. So I'm not worried about that.
I agree with that. Definitely.
Listen, if you can manhandle Tristan Wirth, you're going to be fine.
Yeah. Linderbaum's not going to be there at 29.
I wish we could get Evan Neal, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, bro, that guy's going to be gone in the top 10.
Gonna happen.
I know a guy they were really heavy on during the Senior Bowl was Trevor Penning.
I feel like I've heard that name before.
Yeah. So that's one name I heard they were really high on. And he's okay. You know, so he's a pretty good tackle. He's not bad. So
what's the deepest class in this draft right now?
What's the what? Sorry, say again.
Like as far as like skill, what's the deepest like
I think you mean position
group in this class right now?
Receiver,
like
Right receiver is deep.
Oh, what's the deepest position in this class? First of all, Oos Juice. Yes, we do need an inside linebacker. The deepest tackles really deep. Receivers deep. Corners pretty freaking deep. Those would probably be your 3 deepest positions in this class. Interior, you know what? Interior offensive lineman's pretty deep too.
Yeah,
but
that's not
it's pretty deep in certain areas. So
hey, Reason, have you heard about any line coaches?
Nope.
Get him on check.
I don't think he's gonna come here.
Really? Oh damn.
So I haven't heard very much regarding offensive line coach. I mean, look at Lemuel Jean-Pierre wasn't even informed this morning what the hell his standing with the team was.
Ball boy.
He's out.
Yeah, ball boy, water boy.
And nah, he'll fumble that.
Taints the water, bro. He's
Yeah.
getting tap water for everyone. With him as the water boy.
Poor guy.
Not even that high quality H2O. All right, let's go through some final thoughts because I got to get out of here. John, you start. Go ahead.
I don't really agree with the Alexander firing. I love the way that Mike McDaniel presents himself to the media. He seems like a fun dude, and let's just hope he can fill out the rest of this coaching staff with some quality hires.
Crypto, your final thoughts.
Thanks for having me, Reason. It's pretty good, encouraging as far as him doing his media tours. I hope he keep him coming to keep us engaged.
Go listen to him
You
on
know.
Joe Rose after this. He was amazing on the Joe Rose show too.
Yeah. Speaking of Joe Rose, I just watched one of his old tapes with him and Dan Marino. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think he's gonna fill out the balance of his staff and make it this offense, give it a big turnaround because the defense is already pretty much set. Add a piece here and there. Defense is already set. Offense is ready to go. So that's what McDaniel was hired for, and I think he'll do the job. I'm looking forward to March 16th. You know, when the free agency period starts, and how he's going to assemble a roster. So, yeah, get those big offensive pieces on the offensive line and free agency, then tackle a draft with skill positions. Yep.
It's going to be interesting because if they lose Ogba and Xavier Howard, our defense is no longer set.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah,
going to be really
that'll be a
interesting to see how they
backtrack.
navigate these waters, man. So,
Yeah.
Trey, your final thoughts, dude. Trey, are you there?
Shadow round.
Going once, going twice.
I think it's Mike. Mike was muted. I don't know what it was. That's my
Rhino,
favorite
your
game.
final
Hey,
thoughts.
Reason. That was the game of the century, Reason. Speaking of it.
Your final
Awesome.
thoughts, Reason. Sorry, Rhino.
I'm with everyone else. I think McDaniels is a media star on the rising, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do with the rest of the offensive staff. Don't be surprised if he keeps Pepe Le Pew as maybe an assistant or something. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But the thing is, though, the defense, man, is Boyer the key? Is he the answer? I hope so. He obviously knows the ins and outs of the defense that's there, but is he mentally able to build on that and progress the defense? That's my question. And I'm still holding out Toll. My feelings on McDaniels, it sounds good, it feels good, but I need to see the roster. I mean, the staff filled out, and then I'm like 90% there. I want to be all in. I am all in, but I want to see what happens with that before. But he's doing a great job so far. And Pyro, I told you it'd be all right, bro.
Z-Man, your final thoughts.
Straight up lies. Okay.
Yeah, man. He's making some good progressions with the coaches that he got. Hopefully they bring in a good old line coach. I don't really want no bullshit because I need this offensive line to be good next year so we can make the playoffs. Like you always said, Reason, this offense is only gonna go as far as the offensive line, and I think Mike McDaniel understands that too. So hopefully it just works out. Fins up.
Pyro, your final thoughts, bud.
Man, what can I say? I love me some McDaniels, man, because that dude. Let's just talk about his ice cream selection real quick. I mean, that was just that ice
I
cream
wasn't
selection
vibing with the
was-
caramel, but I was vibing with the Oreo.
No, that's what I'm talking about. That Oreo, that cream, that
Yeah.
cookie and cream.
Yeah, I was vibing with that.
Yeah, man, I
for
love
sure.
that. But
And it's his
like-
birthday next month too.
Oh, you know what day?
No, but he said if you read the note on the ice cream, he said, "Here's one of my favorite desserts, so you guys know what to get me next month."
Oh, that's dope.
For my birthday.
That's dope, man. I love it.
So.
But yeah, that's it. Fins up.
Ah!
That's what I want to talk about. The ice cream
Short
selection.
and
That's pretty
sweet like
good.
the ice cream, huh?
Yeah.
All right, Darth Logan, your final thoughts.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that Gerald Alexander's gone. Once he made that tweet, that's to stick it out. Like,
Well,
he's
it's probably
not
knew he was getting canned when he made the tweet.
Yeah, exactly. So he did that. He did that on purpose. He knew he wasn't going to be here.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at all by it. I am worried about Josh Boyer. I don't like that he's here, and it kind of makes me a little bit worried. Like, can McDaniel fill out that defensive staff? So far, he's not moving the needle for me personally, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully he can retain X and Agba. I don't know his relationship with the defensive players or anything like that. Obviously, none of us do.
You know what keeps playing in my mind, Logan? When he
What's that?
said in that interview with Wingfield, I believe it was, where he said, if we get a lot better on offense, but a little bit marginally worse on defense.
Yeah, I was going to get to
You know,
that.
I feel like that's where we're headed right now.
Right. I think you're going to see defensive regression, and
Definitely.
That's
it
possible.
kind of worries me. So hopefully he can do something on the offense, and you know, the Steedsville thing, retaining that, you know, like it's
Placeholder, bro.
nothing's.
That's all that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm
so
saying,
Hopefully you can make some big splashes, but again, I don't even know what's out there. I don't know what's left in this stage of the game. But
Dude, I was looking in defensive coordinators last night. Literally, if we were going to get someone to work with our unit, you would have had to hire Romeo Crennel from Houston or Wade Phillips, and both are literally 74.
yeah, so
They would be like a 1 or
Man.
2 year stopgap.
yeah, so
Reason, I don't know if you mentioned this,
He
but
could
Wes
get 3
Welker's
years
coming
at the
home,
most.
bro.
Oh,
Wes
yeah.
Welker's coming
yeah, he
home.
did.
So excited
He
about
mentioned
that.
it.
Yeah.
Wes
Yeah.
Welker's back. I mean,
I'm
that's
hyped.
cool. And yeah, Zach
But I was never
Thomas-
worried about the offense.
Yeah,
Because here's the thing. What I said to someone yesterday, dude, think of it. John Embry was the only hire he really needed to make. He's a quarterback, wide receiver, and offensive. He's a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and offensive line guru. Literally, the only one he needed was someone who handles tight ends, and he went and got someone that accredited with like Tony Gonzalez, Jordan Cameron, Chris Cooley, George Kittle. You know what I mean? So
He
like,
got some working.
it's like the offense is like pretty much done with him and Embry, and everyone else is just to be part of the collaborative effort. You know what I mean? Like, and
Right.
so, you know, I was more
'Cause
worried
he's
about
already
how
play
the
calling.
defense is gonna look.
Right.
But,
Right? That's where I'm
yeah.
at. So.
And then just one final thing. I was pissed that a ref got in before Zach Thomas. Just pissed me off. So, anyways,
That's
Fins up.
crazy. That's brutal.
There you
That's
go.
an insult.
Yeah. That
All right,
pissed me
guys.
off.
I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back on the weekend if anything breaks. If not, then I'll be back tonight if something breaks too. But other than that, if I'm not, I will see y'all guys Monday at the latest. Until next time, y'all already know what time it is. Everyone stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed. Fins up all day, every day, baby. Enjoy your Friday.
Two times.
Smash
Smash
that
the
like
like
button.
button. Don't forget.